told
You can talk. Go ahead. It's fine.
no, I just told Grant about how I was old and like couldn't stay up to watch the Berkeley U game last night.
You are old.
She says I'm old and I shouldn't stay up late.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of In the Kitchen. Zach has returned. It might just be now flip-flopping Zach Sundays, Joey Wednesdays. I don't know what the how we got into this rhythm now, but this is what it is. Joey is out somewhere in the fields of the South and out in Georgia. He was in Athens. We don't know where he is now. He has not been communicating with us. He could be literally anywhere. So we'll look out for Joey there. But holy cow, Zach, this was supposed to be apple picking weekend. For many of us,
it was supposed.
This was supposed to be apple picking weekend. I feel bad for those people. You know, there's a bunch of people out there whose girlfriends dragged them to the pumpkin patch this weekend, and they had, maybe in the morning slate you're like, okay, I missed A&M just slaughtering Mizzou, and that's all I'm going to miss today. But oh boy, did the heat turn up later on, and what a weekend of football it was. And I feel like this always happens too. It's always the weekend where it's like, oh, this is going to stink it up. And then that's always the best weekends, right? Those ones are always the ones that deliver the most. And I mean, geez, like some of these games, I'd like to say that I saw it coming, but I can't say that with every single one of these. I'm going to be totally fair.
It was so full disclosure. This was the first full weekend where I was able to just kind of I was able to be home. I was on solo dad duty, so it was kind of like watching football and baseball between we got this new animal show we watch and some new like Halloween kids things that came on Netflix. But I truly got to watch a lot of football, a lot of baseball, both Saturday and Sunday. And it was a great weekend to be able to do it. It was like I'd seen all week like, oh, this slate's not as good as last week's or whatever. And game day where that they had to go to Cal for that's how kind of not good the weekend is. That was awesome, by the way. Game day for the first time in Berkeley.
Oh, we'll get to Berkeley here later.
It kind of just like steamrolled into the rest of the weekend. I mean, a great NFL slate today. Baseball was fantastic. This was a very, very good weekend to just kind of veg out.
Yeah, October is easily the best sports.
It's here.
I know some people.
It truly is.
I love March. Don't get me wrong. Some people want to argue it's June, but I think October is for sure the best sports month. We're not far away from the equinox, by the way. There's an equinox coming up at the end of the month.
Is there really?
There's an equinox. I think it's a Monday night. Is the equinox. I think it's the last Monday of the month is the sports equinox. So we'll have to look out for that.
Maction starts this week too, doesn't it?
Not. I don't know if it's technically Maction. I think it's like Conference USA Asian.
Okay.
I don't know if that's we got like New Mexico State, Jackson.
Oh, okay.
Jacksonville State.
But we have football on Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
You have. I think now is it 54
something straight days?
Yeah, 50 straight something days of football now.
Oh my gosh, we've made it.
Sports are back. That's the point of this.
I just got an eye roll on the other side of the computer from my wife's, but I'm sticking to it. We've made it.
Girlfriends wise, we'll see you in July. All right, we'll talk to you then.
U.S. Open's right around the corner.
I should create an attorney service for dudes out there to argue with their girlfriends about the sports calendar. It's like, hey, you can't be mad. UTEP is playing Western Kentucky right now. We can't go anywhere. We have to watch this. We have to cherish these moments. Let's get into the weekend though. And we were rewarded with not only one of the best games of this season, maybe one of the best games we're going to see for a little bit here, as the Vanderbilt Commodores beat number 1 Alabama in Nashville. And I think it's the first time Vanderbilt has beaten Alabama in Nashville since the 70s. I believe is what it was.
It's the first time that they've beaten Alabama since 84, 40 years.
That's also insane. I know some people picked, like Joey has this little fading Alabama every single game, which I know it worked very well this game. I don't know if that's going to work into the future or not. But some people had like, oh, Alabama might be sleepy in the first half coming off the big win against Georgia. I don't know if anyone really predicted, outside of Diego Pavia's mother maybe, predicted this kind of result of a game. Because Vanderbilt, you get these upsets a lot, and it's like the other team is kind of making a lot of mistakes or whatnot, or you kind of get like they're praying for like the gods to really help them out. Vandy just flat out
They
woke
just
up,
beat
walked
them.
into and just
Just
beat
beat
them.
them.
Like Vanderbilt, Diego Pavia and Clark Lee, they went out there and threw their nuts on the table and
Just
beat
beat 'em.
Alabama. Like
Yeah.
they played aggressive, they took shots downfield, they forced turnovers on defense. Like there's not a category I can go out there and be like, yeah, this is flukish. Like outside of the, I guess Vanderbilt beating Alabama for the first time since the 80s or whatnot, but this was just a flat out, it was just a clean, very fair win. Like I don't even know what else to say about it. They went out right away. They went up like what was it, 20-7, and it's like,
Yep.
oh, like stop the count, Vanderbilt's up or whatever. And then every time Alabama would inch closer, Diego Pavia turned into like prime Johnny Manziel. I saw they did the stat comparison even on TV, and just lit this Alabama defense that I know had its holes against Georgia, but played pretty good. Like last week, he lit them up. Like he made them look foolish at times. That little trick play on 4th and 2 that they ran, like chucking it downfield, he made them look ridiculous.
I think this probably happened to you, and it probably happened to most like college football fans. Is on a Saturday you got the people you text when you're watching your game. When you're watching the Iowa, Ohio State. I'm watching the Auburn Georgia game. I got the 3 or 4 like consistent people that I'm texting, and of course there's other texts coming in, but like you got the 3 or 4. Well, there's one individual that I text every single Saturday, and we're texting and watching. Huge Auburn fan. And we're keeping up with the score, and I was like, "It's 20-7." The response was, "No, I don't know. There's zero way it'll happen. There's zero way it'll happen." And then it's 33-28, and you're like, "Is this? Oh my God, they scored it! It's 40-28. Nah, there's no way."
Mm-hmm.
Like it was almost like you didn't believe it till it was over.
Yeah,
and that almost made it made it as great as the game, because it's like you're having to watch the whole time. You're like, "Oh my God, they just scored again!" Like you just said,
yeah.
like. Alabama just didn't go out there and lose. Like
The
they
Vanderbilt
took
offense
that from them.
the Vanderbilt offense is legitimately very hard to defend.
Yes,
Like it is
you called that from the beginning. You were like, "This guy is good."
Yeah.
But
By the way,
it's
yeah.
still,
Shouts out everyone who listened to this podcast. All 12 of you out there. You knew 7 weeks ago how good Diego Pavia was. You knew when he walked into Auburn, Alabama last year and won as well, how good this dude could play. And then now, of course, he's the star of the show, and well deserved. By the way, he was number 2 in my New Mexico Legends rankings.
you just don't like in an expanded SEC like this. This was crazy. Like this was absolutely insane. I'm still kind of like, oh my gosh, Vanderbilt beat Alabama. Like
I just respect so much. Like they weren't waiting for Alabama to lose.
Nope.
Vanderbilt went in there and decided to win. Like this was straight up. This was the Rebel Alliance in Star Wars going into the Death Star with a tactical plan and saying, we're going to just go win this thing. We're going to go blow up the Death Star that is Alabama. That's what it straight up was. They found the vent that randomly is placed on the ship that will blow it up. And it might have been Jalen Milroe likes to fumble the ball a little bit sometimes. And it might be that Diego Pavia is the kryptonite of Alabama. But they did it anyway. It was incredible. It's so great too that you get these games occasionally where it feels like the entire world is rooting for one team somehow outside of Alabama. And like, I'm sorry, if you're an Alabama fan, okay, root for your team, sure. If you weren't rooting for Vanderbilt yesterday while this game's taking place, what's wrong with you? Like, it's time to look in the mirror a little bit. Root for fun. Did you root for Hans Gruber in Die Hard? Did you root for Billy Zabka in The Karate Kid? Like, what is your life like? If you're a Boston College fan, you're out there rooting for Alabama. What, you just got to want more for yourself. You got to want more fun in your life. It makes me sick. I saw people tweeting out there like they were doing the little meme of the guy stand up in the courtroom like, I want Alabama to win. It's like, get out of here, dude. You're not fun at all. Well, you're not, like, this is why college football is so great too, is because you get weird upsets like this and it's crazy, and you get kids ripping down the goalposts in Nashville, and it's Vanderbilt, so they're walking like single file down to storm the field, which is hilarious. That they built this new stadium, the walls are too high up that like kids would break their legs if they jump on the field, so they got to walk down single file. They're ripping the goalpost down. taking it to Broadway and throwing it in the river, which
So good.
Morgan Wallen, which I don't know if Morgan Wallen just like made there no rules in Nashville anymore if you're just cool. But like that's certainly the case where like there was like a police escort
I know.
navigating
I
these
saw that.
Vanderbilt students
I saw
down
that.
to the river.
I
It was
saw that.
amazing. I just couldn't believe it. Like the apartment shots of this thing going down was incredible. And even too, like I remember the when Tennessee ripped down the goalpost. I think that's our most recent goalpost ripping down. They were like the security crew was trying to stop them from doing it and taking it out of the stadium. The videos of the Commodores taking this thing out of the stadium, the event staff's just like, I don't know, like
It came from the security guards.
Yeah, like the security guards are like helping them lift it out. It was amazing.
When they were trying to get it out of the stadium, I'm pretty sure like one of the like security guards is like just helping them out with the goalposts. While the other one's just like videotaping. I mean, why wouldn't you, man? It was awesome.
It was absolutely miraculous. I do, and then I love too that as soon as the game ended, they played the Nick Saban quote of the only place in the SEC that's not hard to play is Vanderbilt, and they go in there and lose. Now, there's a couple of retrospective things we got to talk about with this game. So, a week ago, we were kind of crowning DeBoer a little bit. Now, here's how we look at this. Do I think DeBoer's a bad coach for losing to Vanderbilt? No. Do I think he's Nick Saban? Probably not. Like, this is a game that Nick Saban does not lose. Nick Saban, every time that he had a team come off a big win, he kept them focused. He kept them off reading their own press clippings all week. They didn't fall off like games like this to Vanderbilt. Now, if they had Tennessee and LSU back-to-back weeks, like that stuff happens. But they never really slipped up after big wins to far inferior opponents like this, right? Mm-hmm. Like, Vanderbilt will tell you, like, at almost every position, Bama should have them beat. Athletically, yes, skill-wise, everything. But I don't know if Nick Saban allows a situation where Vanderbilt can come out and just punch them in the mouth like this up and down the field for 60 minutes. And I know people make the argument, too, of like, oh, remember when Nick Saban lost to ULM or whatever? And it's like, okay, I get that. But also, like, Alabama was way worse at the time. Like,
yeah,
Alabama didn't have Jalen Milroe at the time, right? They didn't have Ryan Williams. Like, the team just wasn't very good. Right. Correct. And the program was kind of in a way different spot than the dynasty Death Star that it is now. So I think this was a little bit of a coming back to earth moment for DeBoer. I still think Alabama, some people are like, oh, they stink now. If you don't think Alabama still has a chance to win the SEC, or if they still got a chance to be in the national championship game, you're crazy, first of all. Not that, and that's not taking anything away from Vanderbilt. If anything, it's highlighting them, first of all. But maybe we overreact with DeBoer a little bit. And I don't know if secretly Nick Saban was thrilled that this loss, because all of a sudden people were talking about like naming a new part of the stadium for DeBoer 4 games into his career, and then lose to Vanderbilt. I don't know if Nick Saban's that kind of guy. I could see both ways if I'm just being totally honest, but the DeBoer scene, I think, is coming back to earth a little bit more now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of happy you gave an explanation for this because I didn't have one. Like this is as fluky as I can ever remember. And I'm in the same boat with it. Like if Alabama went and ran the table, it wouldn't surprise me. If Alabama, like, especially with the 12-team playoff, like they're still positioned to get in. Like, I don't have an explanation for what happened yesterday.
And here's the thing too with the SEC right now, it is wide open for anyone that wants to go take it right now. Technically, Vanderbilt is in just as good of a spot to go win the SEC as Alabama is right now. Technically, or who's like. It's very weird, but like LSU is also very much in control of their own destiny right now to win the SEC, and I don't think that's going to happen. Like I still think Bama's going to like they still have to play each other and whatnot. But like for some of these teams, like we'll get into it too. Like if you're Tennessee and you just went and lost to Arkansas, right? Another inferior opponent, like you had everything in front of you, or you could say that for Bama too. Like watching Arkansas beat Tennessee later, it's like you had everything in front of you. And everything's falling apart. And I don't know if that's these top SEC teams were a little overhyped potentially, which like I could see makes a little bit of sense. Having 6 of the top 7 teams in the country be from one conference probably makes a little bit more sense now that happens. And then now it's kind of shifted to I think 3 of the top 5 teams of Big Ten. That's going to change here soon too now because it's probably just a little bit too much shifting going on. I don't really know what it means for the SEC as a whole, but I love the chaos that's taking place. Is what I'm getting from this.
It they said when you expand to 12 teams that like the regular season doesn't matter. That's the biggest crock of crap. You've
It
seen that the
still
past year.
matters. Yeah.
No, I'm saying it 100% matters.
Yeah.
I just think and I was kind of thinking about this yesterday as I'm watching and I don't know we'll get to, but like watching Michigan at Washington. That was such an awesome game to watch. Like,
fantastic.
you're like, they're in the same conference now. Seeing the promo for Ohio State at Oregon next week, and I'm like, that's a conference game. Like,
that'll matter.
I think it's just the craziness and the how crazy college football fans, and that includes the two of us sitting here. It's always going to matter. And I think it's almost feeling like it matters more because, like, the U at Berkeley, and I have Berkeley ties through my wife. Just seeing like the U playing at Berkeley is like, this is awesome. Like, this
fantastic.
Is so awesome. Yeah. And I think it's just kind of elevated. Like last week with Auburn, Georgia, like if it almost feels like there is more of an impact now. I'm like, I don't want to say the regular season matters more, but I think it's just like seeing these teams play on TV against each other and then having a game like Vanderbilt beating Alabama. And I know it might not ever happen again, but it's just like all of it kind of wrapped in to the first couple of weeks of this season with a culmination of like, yeah, everything's wide open. Everybody still controls their own destiny. Yes, Alabama did lose to Vanderbilt. This game might be meaningless here in 6 weeks when Alabama's the 4 seed. Yeah. But damn, it was still awesome.
Yeah. I do love too. This is kind of my last point with this game is that not only you had Theo Vaughn out there rolling around the stadium in an Iowa hat, might I add, in an Iowa hat the whole time.
I'm not going to lie to you. There's a clip of him. Vanderbilt scores a touchdown. He runs, and I was like, "That's not." And zoomed in, I was like, "He's got an Iowa. He's got an Iowa.
He's a genuine Iowa.
The old school Iowa hat.
He's a genuine Iowa basketball fan. Like he genuinely loves Iowa basketball.
Yeah, I did get a good laugh out of that for you.
Now that part's cool. I feel so bad for Nate Bargatze. I think is the most famous Vanderbilt fan, the only Vanderbilt fan in the world.
That's right.
He's hosting Saturday Night Live during this. I'm not sure he saw a single minute of the game. Like the Saturday Night Live schedule, how crazy it runs up to the minute of the show. He clearly knew they won. I'm not sure he saw a single minute of it. Or like that's a guy who should be there. Like he should be coaching. He should have a headset on, right? I felt so bad. He threw up the V during his monologue, and then after when he's doing the thank you so much, Lauren, to the music crew, musical guest, whoever it was, and he's like, Vanderbilt beat Alabama, let's go, guys! Like he's screaming, and it's like, by the way, no one in the audience is a college football fan at all.
Didn't care.
Like they're like, who? The Vanderbilt's like Anderson Cooper, and they have no clue what's going on. It was super funny, but I feel bad. I hope that he saw something from it. I hope that he was, because he earned it. He earned this win, and I just like the story of him saying that whenever they played Tennessee, and he accidentally went into the stadium 6 hours early, and there's no reentry, so he had to sit there alone to watch Vanderbilt lose to Tennessee. Like, like that guy should be watching. He should be storming the field, and he's stuck hanging out with Lorne Michaels.
It's so good.
Now, this is a kind of a little bit of theme I'll have for a few of these games. It's like college football math of this game. Vandy beats Alabama. The college football math tells me Georgia might not be now they're good. Don't get me wrong. They might be as crazy good as everyone thought they were.
I think it's a fluke. Like this, it was a fluke. Like it's.
But I don't
have an explanation.
Georgia, you've seen so far is close loss to Kentucky.
I know.
Close with Auburn for a long time.
Yeah, we will get there.
And losing to Bama, who got out 20-0 on you.
Yeah.
Who just lost to Vandy, is what we've seen from Georgia so far. Now, there's the absolute clobbering of Clemson, which we're going to get to a little bit, which I think that might be a little more fluky as well, which we can talk
about. I don't think they – well, we'll get there. Yeah.
Mizzou Texas A&M was the only ranked on ranked game, and it was a absolute bloodbath. Was the only way I can refer to it. And look, I was dead right about Mizzou being super overrated, fraudulent, whatnot you want to say about them. Did they deserve to be in the top 10? No. Is A&M 31 points destroying them better than them? I also don't think so. I think this is the first time Mizzou had faced any like super serious challenge outside of Diego Pavia taking them into overtime as well. I don't think that this is I don't think this is the truest form of Mizzou. Like, I think they're better than this game, but they are significantly worse than people assume they were.
They're better than this game. However, this felt like it was coming. If it wasn't going to be A&M, it was whoever they play next week or the week after that. And like, I think you are right. Mm-hmm. But I think it kind of happens with teams that are overinflated. Like, instead of just losing by, like, I don't know, a touchdown or in a close game, they just get the brakes beat off of them. And it felt like this was coming. And I'm not going to, like, they haven't played very good football. And I don't know how good of a football team they are. And I didn't know it would be A&M, but, like, I'm not going to lie to you, when I, like, an hour before this game, I'm like, I just kind of feel like A&M might just dump truck them. But you're right. I don't think they're 31 points less or worse than A&M, but they were gonna be 31 points less than somebody coming up on their schedule, and it just happened to be A&M.
Yeah, and I think too, Mizzou's issue is, were they realistically a top 10 team? No, but I think they were just getting rewarded too much for what they did last year. For a team that doesn't, they were getting rewarded for a team that doesn't exist anymore.
For a team that didn't have the SEC player or SEC offensive player of the year on there, or the best running back in the SEC last year, that wasn't on there.
So I think that they fall a little bit victim to that. And I as soon as I saw that spread come out, it was like Texas A&M -2 at home. I was like, well, this is not going to be good. Something bad's going to happen.
Yeah.
My college football math of this game, though, is that Texas A&M beating 41 Mizzou 41-10. Notre Dame's Texas A&M win is going to age great. That stinky game that we thought it was, and I still feel like it very much is going to age real well in the eyes of the committee.
Yeah, no.
Because I think A&M's got a lot more wins coming up, and even if they go 9-3, that's still going to be a solid win on the Notre Dame schedule. And it stinks because, again, like we've talked about before, you need to be rooting against Notre Dame if you're a fringe playoff team, because their schedule is wide open, and they got A&M as a win. They got Louisville as a win. Like, they've got some resume building right now, unfortunately.
If you're a team in the hunt, you got to hope they lose one of the service academies.
Yeah, and this is what's so great, too, is the chaos of this weekend. If you were shooting for like 10-2 maybe, or like 9-3 is just not getting you in the playoff regardless. But like, if you were a fringe team, you weren't feeling great, this weekend went about as good as it could go for you. I'm going to be totally honest. Like, if you're a Notre Dame fan, you're sitting back watching this weekend, like, you got to feel pretty great.
They still lost to Northern Illinois, though.
Which I think Northern Illinois lost again, which that one just gets stranger and stranger. But it is what it is. It's what we got. We mentioned it earlier, Michigan 17, Washington 27. Fantastic game. I have a confession to make.
Okay.
I still hate that Peacock puts these games behind a paywall.
Okay.
God, they do a good broadcast though. They do a good job.
Okay.
And I hate how good of a job they're doing right now. I do have one criticism is I don't think the field mics are very good. Okay. I feel like I get no crowd noise going on during the Peacock broadcast. But otherwise, hats off. Washington, such a great environment. I'm so glad they're in the Big Ten just for that. But I'm furious at how good Peacock is doing in the broadcast.
So I've told y'all this a lot. So kind of two things. One to piggyback off that, and then I kind of got a confession to make too. I've told you how good Peacock is. I mean, I'm a huge Premier League fan, and that is the best coverage in a sport. Just the pre-game coverage, post-game coverage, in-game coverage. So I am not shocked at all that Peacock is just crushing it. I love this new Big Ten football. I don't know if it's just the SEC. Like, I love the SEC, and it's the same teams, and I'm not surprised. Like, a Texas and Oklahoma, it just kind of fits. But, like, seeing Michigan play at Washington, like, That was awesome.
It was great. The
It's
colors work
awesome.
really well. Everything's great.
Yeah. I think it's still just weird to like the USC, the UCLA, Oregon, Washington, but like Ohio State plays at Oregon this week, and that's a conference game. Like that's incredible.
I think they wouldn't admit it, but I think like 15% of the realignment was just for that game. I'm gonna be totally honest.
Yeah.
I think it was just for that. No, that is what makes conference realignment. Like that is the good part of it. Now, if they come for the MAC, I'm gonna hate all this forever. But
yeah, now the Big Ten is I get what they do. Like that's a good product, and that's like home run so far. Yeah. Now if we can, Rutgers getting out to Oregon, that'll be
a trip, but they'll figure it out. Miami made it to Cal this week.
I know.
They figured it out. Yeah, this game though, I am happy for our boy Will Rogers. I feel like he's not as good as I thought he was going to end up being in college, but he was always a good QB. I felt like in weird situations, and he finally kind of got his signature win here for this game. So I was very happy for him there. And this Washington team has been kind of weird all season. I feel like they've been like you watch that Rutgers game, they far outgain Rutgers and end up losing anyway, miss kicks or whatnot. It felt like everyone's kind of jumping down their throats for like, oh, they're falling off. They're like TCU or whatever. It's like, I wasn't convinced yet that this team was that bad. Obviously the loss to Washington State was tough, but and then even Washington State's not as horrible as they've been sold to be really. So this win was definitely good, I think, for the Huskies. Also too, that they, I know it's not the same team that was in the national championship for both parties. Right. But you're new to the Big Ten, you get to kind of, you get to beat Michigan, who beat you last year and end of your season. Now, obviously, if it's 1-1, you definitely want the one that was in the national championship, right? But still good to win at home as well. And this is also kind of Washington's big introduction to this is our atmosphere. Purdue fans who probably haven't seen much of this, right? Beautiful job by Washington just as a whole in this game. Michigan, I don't know how I feel about this team anymore. I'm going to be honest.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. What do you want to say?
I was just saying that Washington, this score could have been way worse.
It felt like it could have been worse. And it's kind of, I think they have a QB issue. And not knowing who your QB is definitely hurts your ability to have an identity as a team, unless your identity wants to just be not really relying on offense or anything. Which I've been there before, and it's not a good place to be. You can win more games than you would expect. But it's not for Michigan, who's a team, it's we want to win the Big Ten. We got to beat Ohio State. It's not a great place to be. I'm going to be totally honest. And it's kind of funny too, first 5 minutes of the game, it's what do we call this total guy? Total Heisman or it was kind of a little bit all over the place. He had some tough moments. I'm going to be honest. Is he the worst quarterback I've seen? No. Is he the worst Michigan quarterback I've seen? No. But I don't know if this QB charades that we're doing with Michigan solving any problems, really.
He's not any good.
No.
He's not any good.
I do. Oh, what's his name? Donovan Edwards is still, I think, a really solid running back.
Yeah,
he still looks great at times. And the Michigan defense, too, I still think is pretty solid. It's going to keep them in a lot of games, but Washington just kind of figured out what USC couldn't. And they cleaned up the mistakes and got this win. And I'm thoroughly impressed by Washington.
Well,
go ahead. Sorry.
I'm going to say we're also finding out that USC might not be a very good football team.
Yeah, USC might not be totally amazing. Which is kind of weird. As we keep doing the college football math, we'll get into USC a little bit here, but I don't know. This might just be does college football math work? It might not work.
But I like it. I like this whole segment.
Yeah. I don't know if I have one specifically for this game. I guess it would be oh shoot, maybe Michigan's not great, or it's oh, Rutgers is that good. I don't know. I'd have to figure out another one. I didn't have one specifically for this game. I was just really proud of Washington as a whole. Yeah. Now they're coming to Iowa next week, which I'm very excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's it's I didn't realize how desperately I wanted to see Washington versus Iowa maybe 4 years ago, but I'm pretty fired up for this game. It's gonna be fun to watch. And even it's not ranked or anything, but I think it's getting big noon kickoff.
Okay.
Regardless, so it'll be fun. Because I think actually, how did we get big noon kickoff over Ohio State, Oregon? That was something.
No, they got the primetime NBC game.
Oh, okay, that makes sense then. Yeah. I was I don't get me wrong, I love Iowa football. Was that the smartest choice, Fox? Did you?
The Ohio State Oregon's the primetime NBC game.
Okay, that's good. Moving on. USC 14, Minnesota. I wrote down 24. I don't think that's right, the right score. Minnesota beats USC. And this is where I kind of get I'm not a Minnesota fan by any means, but whenever I get these like traditional Big Ten West team beats new Pac-12 team games going on, or like Michigan beating USC the first time, something feels really good in my heart. As like a Big Ten guy for years, people have been coming to me saying, "Oh, the Big Ten West, if you play in the Pac-12, you'd have 2 wins or whatever. You guys aren't any good." Or, "Oh, it's not that hard to go play out there in October in the fall." And then USC, these Hollywood boys, come to Minnesota. They come to the Midwest and get their asses QB sneaked on for 60 minutes and could not do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
They come in and play some physical football, and PJ Fleck, I still think, is a total dork, outclasses them the whole time, beats Lincoln Riley. Like I said, I'm not a Minnesota fan. I was elated to see this. I was so happy. And I'm, again, not even a USC hater, but anytime these new fancy schools are coming into the Midwest, I'm going to be pulling so hard for my classic Big Ten teams, my Big Ten West brothers. All right. Brothers fight, guys. Brothers fight all the time. But when the chips are down and it's rooting for the Big Ten, the old Big Ten West time, I've got your back. And I had Minnesota here, and it felt great. And literally, I love too that this game was decided on QB sneaks at the goal line the entire time. It was so perfect. Credit to PJ Fleck getting USC totally out of their element for this masterclass. And this is, we've mentioned too, USC is going to run into an issue. All right. And I thought they might have solved it when they played LSU. And I was like, this defense looks physical. They're being tough out there. I'm proud of you, USC. You're changing your identities. Lincoln Riley going to figure out after 15 years of coaching that you kind of got to have a pretty solid physical defense to compete at the national level and be a title contender. Maybe. 5 weeks later, absolutely not true. He's learned nothing over this time period. USC is talented in a lot of places, but the way the Big Ten likes to play football, like this is going to keep happening. And USC is not the most even talented school at doing this.
Do you think Lincoln? I know we talk about players being scouted. Do you think other coaches have figured out Lincoln Riley? Something's missing.
Yeah, I think there's a chance for sure that they figured it out. I just unplugged my microphone like an idiot, but
I know, yeah,
yeah, no, I think so. That he's very. I don't know if it's necessarily he's become very scoutable, but I think just football's evolved to like, hey, we're just going to drop a couple guys back and be more physical.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if it took a ton of rocket science to really figure this out.
I know we're not talking about this game, but now my brother's at UCF now. We got Gus Malzahn who used to be at Auburn, and they got beat by Florida. And I was talking to him today about it. He goes, Gus has ran the same play for 60 minutes for the past 20 years. You'd think he'd change it up a little bit.
No.
And it kind of made me think of Lincoln Riley. It's kind of like, all right, if he doesn't he's got uber talented players, but it's like his system is like other coaches have figured out a system.
Yeah. And look, credit to Minnesota. This is they had to play well too. Right.
Yeah, 100%.
They had to do it too, but as well as
still got to beat talent. Like Minnesota does not have as much talent as USC, so you still have to beat that. So yes, credit to them, but I don't know. It shouldn't happen as easily as it happens, I guess.
No, and I'm going to be honest. It's I don't know what specific game it is, but they got Penn State next week. I don't know what the line is, but the way it's looking, like I feel like Penn State is going to do the exact same thing. They're just going to that game. We'll preview it obviously, but that feels very much like it's going to be similar to like Illinois, where it's like, I don't think Penn State will crush them, but I don't know if there will be a ton of time where you're thinking, oh, this is out of reach, or they're within strike distance. I'm looking at it's 5.5 right now. I'm 100%.
This is Penn State USC.
Yeah, I'm 100% going to bet USC. I'm just going to throw that out right now. 100% it's going to happen.
Where's
Five
it?
and a
Is it
half
in
is
Los
crazy.
Angeles?
It's in Los Angeles. I'm 100%. That is a long flight. I'm gonna have to bet USC, but we'll talk about that then. Tennessee 14, Arkansas 19. I don't understand Arkansas as a team because I'm gonna be honest, Arkansas is not that bad. I want them to be terrible. They're not that bad, guys. They got that close loss to A&M on a neutral site, and then they beat Auburn, which I thought was more embarrassing to Auburn. It might have just been Arkansas is just not that bad of a team, if I'm being totally honest. So when Tennessee goes in there, and by the way, I didn't realize that at Tennessee they don't play Arkansas all the time, but they cannot win there. They haven't won there in like 20 years somehow. I don't know what they're so scared of in Fayetteville, but Arkansas they got this weird overtime game against Oklahoma State, which I thought was flukish at the time. Beating Auburn, which I thought was flukish at the time, and then the close loss to Arkansas, now beating Tennessee. Like Arkansas might just be fine. Like they might not be that bad of a team. Their next game is hosting LSU. Like Arkansas might have back-to-back ranked wins.
Yeah.
Like they're not bad at all. So I don't know if this win single-handedly saved Sam Pittman's job, but I think it's like they had the pen pointing downwards or the gavel, I guess, to fire him.
Had it in their hand.
And then someone tapped him on the shoulder, and it's like, oh wait, shoot, hold on, okay, you survived another week. We'll let you in to your next challenge. Now it is Arkansas, so I can see them losing out as well. But as much as people want to jump down Tennessee for this game, I'm kind of more my impression of it was, what if Arkansas is just not that bad?
They played good. They played a really good football game. They kind of took Tennessee out of what they wanted to do consistently all night long, and that was pretty impressive. And then especially that drive with a backup quarterback, there was nothing. I watched this was like Tennessee did not play great, but I'm like, they're playing awful. They're playing awful. It just felt like Arkansas just kind of controlled the game, and they kept themselves in it long enough to pull out a win. I mean, this is a fun game to watch as well.
Now, here's the other big talking point that we're going to have from this. I think Nico is a good quarterback.
Okay.
I think he's going to be very good as well.
Okay.
We might have just jumped the gun on it a little bit. We might have gotten overly excited. And I think, too, here's the issues. I think he is a stellar player. Like, for how young he is exceedingly good. I think now, though, that there's a little more tape on him, and he's been playing some different opponents. Like, we kind of got all crazy when he was smoking NC
State,
NC State and
is not a good football team.
Kent State, who's the worst team in all football right now. The Oklahoma game I thought was like, I don't know. I still in my mind, I think Heupel kind of called the dogs off a little bit, but I think we're kind of seeing a little bit that he's got some room to grow still. And that's fine, by the way. Like, if I'm a Tennessee fan, I'm still very happy that I get more Nico coming up in the years to come. But maybe he's not already the Heisman contender that some people had him as. And that's okay.
Well, like the last play of the game when he, you got to have – you get at least kind of throw it in a play.
Yeah. Well, first off, some people aren't talking about it either. He just ran 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. Like, whatever play they were going to get off was not going to work.
Correct. And then just ran out of bounds.
And then he ran out of bounds.
Yeah.
Like, that's just a rookie. It's rookie stuff, Like, in 3 years, I think he just checks it up to the end zone.
Correct.
And honestly, when Tennessee got the ball back and they got time to drive, I was like, and even Nico hadn't been playing great. I was like, boy, I'd hate to be guarding Nico right now.
Yes.
Like, he's definitely not a person I want to be playing. He's going to be really good, but he's clearly making some errors and showing that he's got room to go. He's got room to go.
That's a great point. That's a great. Honestly, couldn't said it better.
Yeah. Even he had like a little rollout too that I think he's trying to gun it in there, and it's not the best for his receivers. Like, there's small stuff that, by the way, when he fixes, is going to be a nightmare for everyone. Not that he already isn't. He's already very good, but it's evident that we bought too much of his. I don't know if we bought too much of his stock. We inflated his stock a little bit.
Yeah, he got crowned a little early. He got crowned just a touch early. Like, I don't think coming back to reality ever hurt anybody.
Yeah, I think now there's more tape on him. He's deeper into the SEC schedule. It's going to come down to reality a little bit more, and reality's still going to be pretty good. I'm just going to throw that out.
Yes,
But the
absolutely.
6 touchdowns a game, average plays 80 yards is probably done for the season. I'm just going to throw it out there. And then the last game of the night, Miami versus Cal. First of all, game day. I don't know if I fully lean into the game day is dead thing because as much as I don't really watch game day that much, it's still on TV. McAfee brings in a ton of viewers, and people still clearly show up to it and care that it's at their school, right? They go to Cal for the first time ever. I think it starts at 2, 3, 4 in the morning or whatever, right? Because it's all the way up in Berkeley. Students are showing up for it at like 11:30 the night before. It's packed out. And the Cal fans, by the way, best signs I've ever seen.
Oh
Hilarious.
my gosh, they're great.
And they deserve this too because the Calgorithm, if you're on college football Twitter, has taken over everything. Like Cal fans have been all that I've seen on my phone for the past 4 weeks. They have a clearly passionate fan base and 100% deserve to have this year. And I think this is a little point with game day. It's like, look, we all know LSU's got great fans. Okay. We know Ohio State has great fans. But I think the game day thing kind of got part of the reason why people feel like it falls off a little bit is because it's been to the same 10, 12 spots every single week for the past 15 years, right? They go to the same spots because they know, like, okay, yeah, it's like First Take talking about the Cowboys every week. It's like, yeah, we know the Cowboys fans are going to enjoy this, and that's a lot of people. But I genuinely feel like if they just explored more of the country and got these genuine, like college football is so great because there's so many unique different fan bases all around the country, and they're all different. If you just explored those a little bit more, like you did with Cal, like game day it will be in a great spot again. Not that it's in a horrible spot right now, but like that was the most memorable, best game day I've seen in forever.
There was a post from the Levitard show, and it says somebody tweeted and it says, "Been to college game day a bunch of times throughout the years, but this is a hell of a scene in Berkeley this morning." And then the response, or somebody like commented on it, said, "This is what it looks like when you celebrate the depth and breadth of college football, when you look past the same few schools and tell other schools that they matter." I remember when we were living in Virginia and they did game day at JMU, and we got a whole bunch of JMU friends. It was electric.
Yeah.
When they would go to like North Dakota State, or when they would go, I remember when they went to like Montana and did like the Montana State, like
Montana one was crazy.
It was insane. And I think I almost feel like you're right. It's like you can just go to a random Saturday at a random school and it's electric. Like that's why people love college football.
Game day, book your schedule. You're going to Colorado School of Mines next week.
Oh my gosh. Like, can you imagine the setup? Like they're just right outside the stadium in Golden. Like
they're just learning who's playing for the first time. Right.
You got half the student bodies like, I didn't even know we had a football team. I haven't left the library in 48 hours. It was awesome. I mean, I saw another thing that was like, game day in the dark is the best TV we get, or something like that. That was another good one I saw. No, it was I thought awesome. That was
hilarious too. And you could tell, like, Pat's like, it's 4:30 in the morning and I got to start screaming. Nick Saban is furious that he's up so early. Awesome. They bring out Marshawn as a bigger. I didn't know what this Bear Territory song was.
I didn't either.
That they kept singing. Like they brought out the dude who's like inventor of the Bear Territory song. I was like, what is he talking about? It's great. It's an awesome song. But yeah, just shout out to, by the way, Cal too, packing out the stadium. Awesome. Awesome environment. And I know like Cal, I think is a better football team than they've been a little bit. And two, that like usually when Auburn played there on Friday, it was dead.
It wasn't. It was It
was not packed. So it was so cool to see this. I think Berkeley is such a beautiful stadium that finally being able to see that packed out was awesome. But I don't. Was there any other game day points? Game day. I have a point to make. Seeing it in the dark, starting really early in the morning, was great. We have to do game day in Hawaii. You have to. It has to happen. How do we get game day? What record does Hawaii have to get game day?
They're really bad right now. So they need to bring Timmy Chang back, or Tommy Chang.
Did they get it ever when
No,
he
I
was
don't
out
think
there?
they
No.
have. I mean, that would be logistic
Game day
nightmare.
starts at 1 a.m. in Hawaii.
Because I mean, at least they're in Oregon this week too, so it's a 6 a.m. start like that. I want to say it's like it would have to start at like 3 a.m.
We
3
have to
a.m.
get game day out in Hawaii. We've got to. And just rest in peace, Bill Walton. It would have been perfect. You got him guest picker or bring back Manti Te'o. Let him be the guest picker. Tua, someone. Chang's got to coach the game, but or I guess I don't wasn't Saban a guest picker one time when he was coach? I feel like that's happened before. But regardless, that's my new goal. This game though, Cal plus 10 easiest bet of the weekend. I don't know how they lost this game. It was harder for Cal to lose this game than it was for them to win it. Cal got out to a huge lead. I think they're up like 25 points in the fourth quarter, still managed to lose. I'm watching it. It's like 2 a.m. or whatever when this game's coming out, which, by the way, I know it's in Berkeley, right? And the time zone difference. It is still exceedingly rare that these games go that late. Like Miami fans watching this in the Eastern time zone, it's 3 a.m. when this game wraps up. It's and I know they're all coked out of their minds up anyway, but it's still 3 a.m. All right. They still have to pretend that they're going to get up and get up the next day, right?
Yeah, but we're like the moms and dads. I was thinking of the parents of these kids that are watching this game back in Miami, and I'm like, it is 3 o'clock.
Crazy. And this is the realignment too, being just the funniest thing ever. It's like, yeah, this is ACC after dark, 3 a.m. Awesome. Miami traveling to this game too, 3,000 plus miles. The truckers doing the
okay. I'm making sure we mention this.
Yeah.
That was just a great follow all week. The dude, I'm not sure if he's a regular truck driver, but he needs to be, and he needs to be a content king because he was it was so good. We somewhere in New Orleans, just cruising along. Go Canes! Woo!
That's like half of the Canes football fans, by the way, are that guy. It's fantastic. Where were we at with this game, though? Jaden Knott, fantastic football player.
Yes,
I can't figure. I'm seriously, I'm baffled how they lost this game. I thought they had it wrapped up. And this is what's weird too. Some people are like, "Oh, the ACC is clearly rigging it for Miami." Fine, say what you want. There's back-to-back weeks now. Miami's had a scare. I do think surviving both of them is starting to get kind of impressive. Like seeing some fight in Miami, which like normally from Mario Cristobal teams, there's just no fight. So I think that's positive. However, being down, I think Cal's better than they're getting credit for. Being down like 35-10 though to Cal is probably not great for your national title seriousness in my mind. Now, not that they can't win the ACC, and then when you got the bye, like anything can happen, I guess. But in terms of like, do I think they're a real national title threat? I don't know if I feel the same way about it. Now,
no, not after the past 2 weeks. It's been kind of like Virginia Tech's not a great football team. Cal, like I think we all agree, is better than we thought they would be.
I think Cal's better than Virginia Tech, but
I know they are. But like we're still down 28 against Cal. Like
like Miami's supposed to be the number 5 team in the country or whatever.
Yes.
Now this is what's crazy. I think Cam Ward might have had his Heisman moment yesterday. And I don't think there was a single Heisman voter awake to see it. I don't think any of them saw it, which might be the best thing for Travis Hunter ever, because this dude and Ashton GT, they both, and Ashton GT is statistically still running away with it. But if Cam Ward goes undefeated, wins the ACC, it's very much a quarterback award. It's going to be hard for him not to win it. What he did against Cal last night was unbelievable. In that last drive, it was outstanding. Now, I don't know how much of it was like Michael Irvin crawling around on the sidelines and like intimidating the Cal players, but Cam Ward was unbelievable in the fourth quarter. It's stellar stuff. Like he's legitimately a unbelievable player.
Yes, he's really, really good.
Yeah. But boy, this was such I'm almost more shocked Cal lost this game than Bama lost to Vanderbilt. Like seeing both games, like
they were dominating.
Cal was dominating this game, right? And Vandy came out and played great against Bama, right? Like once the game started, it was more shocking that Cal lost this than Vandy lost to Bama.
Yeah.
I know that sounds crazy, but go watch both games. Ignore spreads or whatever pre-game. And if you just watch them individually without knowing any history, you'd be like, Cal losing was the biggest debacle of all time. That was what you would assume.
Yeah.
Now, with the ACC though, when I watch this game, this is the college football math. You should go buy all of your Clemson stock right now because it looks like it's going to be Clemson Miami for the ACC. I think Clemson would clobber Miami.
Think so?
I think so. I don't think Clemson's getting enough credit for how good they are, and I think Miami's getting a little too much credit.
I don't think
like Clemson's sitting right there, just waiting.
They really are. They're
sitting right there. And honestly, like if they get, let's say they win the ACC, they get the bye. I would hate to be playing Clemson. Or let's say they get it at large or something, right? They lose in the ACC championship. 10-2. Your only losses are Georgia in a neutral site, and the ACC champion. I really wouldn't want to be. I wouldn't want them. I wouldn't want them at all.
The best thing that'll happen to Clemson is that Georgia game was the first game of the season, and yeah, you can get so much better, but it's. I don't know if I'm gonna believe in Clemson until I see them play it. Like if they make the playoffs until I see it, because they didn't look like even close.
First half was pretty close. People forget against Georgia. First half was very competitive.
Second half was not.
Yeah. Also, ever since then, Cade Klubnik has put up insane stats.
Yeah, I mean the ACC we can sit here and say is very down. Is not a good conference.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to get moving though. Let's do some Iowa Auburn talk. Auburn, you guys, 7-3 for a while against Georgia. That was crazy, right?
I think if you're an Auburn fan, if you have half a brain, which a lot of us don't, I can honestly admit, and I know that Hugh Freeze's been taking a lot of heat recently for quote unquote throwing his players, specifically Peyton Thor, under the bus. Peyton Thor might be a great kid. You know, we might run into him in life one day and have some beers with him and talk shop, for hours at a bar and walk away. But man, that Peyton Thor is a great guy. He is not an SEC quarterback. Like it is just plain and simple.
Better person than football player.
I hope so. God, I hope so. I'm in usually on a Saturday when I'm watching an Auburn game. There's about 3 or 4 people that I'm consistently texting with every single week. Now, there's people outside the box and group text, how the whole thing goes. But there's about 3 people I consistently am talking to throughout an Auburn game. Joey Bush being one of them. There were about 10 times yesterday where he just missed a wide open receiver or he missed an RPO. And I will attest, and I've said this multiple times, I can watch a basketball game and pretty much tell you what a team is doing, what sets they're running. But I cannot call football play. Never been able to. But I'm just sitting here watching him just throwing it to the wrong receiver, throwing it short, just missing what looks like basic plays. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to I consider. And then he goes and Hugh Freeze is just in his ass. And then my phone would get a text and be like, how did he miss? Why did he throw it 5 yards on 3rd and 8 when a receiver is wide open, 10 yards past it on 3rd and 8? Why did he hand the ball off to the running back on 3rd and 4 when the play is designed for the wide receiver to be wide open for a 5-yard gain? And it felt like that happened over and over. So we didn't necessarily have the turnovers yesterday, but it was just stale, and it was just like he can't make the right play. We played really good. Our defense isn't bad. We stayed in there with Georgia, but he just does not allow us to win football games.
That's okay. I saw you guys flipped a QB commit recently, right? This past week?
We did. And I think we're up to the second best recruiting class. It is coming. And I hate when people I don't know what else Hugh Freeze is supposed to say at this point, except for, my players aren't that good. The guy that was before me was awful and didn't recruit local high schools that have 5 stars. I don't know what else you want me to tell y'all. Yeah. So it's coming. We just don't have an SEC quarterback. It's simple. It's truly simple as that.
That's fair. Iowa, Ohio State.
There you go.
It's tough out there. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
It's a tough game. And look, here's the thing. First half, honestly, I don't know if there's a lot I can really complain about. Like we forced turnovers, got picks, forced fumbles, look great. Down 7-0 at halftime. I'll take that. Issues though. I think we still got to like the offense, which is crazy. It's definitely improved from last season, and it's an inarguable fact. Like we were hitting guys for 20 plus yards, receptions. I know that's like okay, like bare minimum. Like that's huge for Iowa. Like that wins you 11 games last year for Iowa. So that's where we're at as a program right now. I was like, oh shoot, we're kind of like Cade's kind of like looked a little mobile there. Guys getting open. Jacob Gill's doing his job. I'm like, okay, Iowa, like offense is moving against Ohio State, not bad. To start off the first half, you get into Ohio State territory 3 times. To pull an upset, you need to leave with touchdowns. We got no points from those, and you just can't leave points on the table. If we get any points there, do we end up winning the game? Probably not still, but it would have helped.
You get points though.
Yeah. Hey, on the opening drive, Wetjen was wide open downfield. Like, ball gets to him, you're set up in territory, maybe even a touchdown, honestly, on that play. Like, it was drawn up really well. We had Drew Stevens missed field goal. You go into halftime 10-7 against Ohio State. Like, you're giving them something to think about at least, right? Like, it's there. At least you're not down 7-0, which I don't even think 7-0 is that bad. But I think it felt like we had 3 turnovers in 4 plays to start off the second half, and you just can't do that against Ohio State. It just can't happen. And at some point too, Ohio State has just got some insane athletes that I don't know what we are supposed to do about that. Like this Jeremiah Smith guy, I don't know. We kind of, I feel like we did a great job defending him in the first half. The second half, he's did some absolutely ridiculous things. Like, I don't even know what to do. I'm watching the replays of these, and I'm like, I don't know how to better defend that. Like, Will Howard puts the ball perfectly in there. It was just like, okay, I don't know what else you want us to do. I do wish we kept it a little bit closer because I think when it comes down to the end of the season, right, like there are 10-2 teams that are going to get into the playoff, right? And if Iowa is still going to be favored in the rest of their games, let's say they can win all of them, right? And I think it is a winnable schedule on the way out. You get to 10-2, which again, like could easily not happen as well, right? But let's say you get to 10-2. I think covering would have helped a lot more, right? But geez, I mean, the way the weekend kind of panned out, like it's not horrible. I'm going to be honest. Like if your argument to the playoff is we lost to Ohio State at Ohio State and to Iowa State, who's on pace to win the Big 12 right now, you have kind of an argument to where a lot of these SEC schools too drop games they shouldn't have dropped and could end up with 3 losses, and then they're not going to be in either. And I know Bud Elliott said he would put in like 8-4 Ole Miss over 11-1 Indiana, which is insane. But it is what it is, right? There's that. And when I look at this too, it's like, okay, Minnesota just beat USC at home, where we went into Minnesota and won like 31-15, right? Spanked them. Yeah. So I feel like I should feel worse about the Ohio State game than I should in terms of like where we're at. But I don't know, as a whole, like I'm still can't believe we lost to Iowa State is why I feel like a lot of us had this game marked off as, we're probably going to lose to begin with. I don't understand the outrage really right now with this game. And we got Washington coming up. There's things to be excited about, guys. Okay. It's not the end of the world. I do wish a bigger performance from Caleb Johnson would have helped with the Doak Walker Ward propaganda. But at some point, too, I think the issue more is going to be trying to slow Ashton GT down, which I was about to say. And what's crazy, I think he's still having a great season. I mean, he's had close to 100 yards in this game and a touchdown, right? Which is like helps out his case still. But God, I mean, he's even in a firm second place for that award right now with a great season. But Ashton GT's just going so crazy. I don't know what to really do about it. So, but yeah, Iowa. I think the season is not completely over just because of this one game. And you got to remember too, guys, like being a college football fan, like Ohio State, I've said it before, like I firmly believe they're going to win the whole thing this year. Like this is one of the best teams that's ever been assembled, ever. Like if where we're at as a program is 35-7 right now with them, with like a first year of an offensive coordinator, it could be way worse, guys. It could be way worse.
I like your optimism.
So there's that. That's how I feel. Quickly scores. Just some ones to point out. Pitt 34, North Carolina 24. God, look out for Pitt. I don't know if they were on a lot of people's radar. Pitt is 5-0 right now.
Look out for Pitt, and boy, North Carolina's not any good.
They're not any good. And also, Pitt's quarterback, this Holstein, he's not going to win the Heisman thing. He's having a fantastic season. He's a freshman. 15 touchdowns, over 1,500 yards already on the season. Stud. He's going to get I feel like he is destined to get nipped by someone here in the portal very soon, but we'll see. And it's unfortunate that's where NIL is at, but it just is what it is. We live in a world, Zach, where Army-Navy might be a playoff game. And I think that's so beautiful. Army is legit very, very good. Like, they are still triple option based, but they chuck the ball downfield a little bit. Like, they play physical.
Navy will throw it up there.
Navy will throw it up there too. Like, these are legit teams right now. I don't know what the chances of both of them going undefeated is. It's probably lower than it should be, but I am hoping and praying that Army-Navy is like a pseudo playoff game. That would be unbelievable.
That might be the greatest college football game. Like,
can you imagine Army-Navy? Both teams are undefeated.
Yeah,
for a spot in the playoffs. That would be awesome.
Well, they could still be in a spot for playoff for the Power Five. Like, who's it? Is it pretty much those two in like Boise State?
It's Boise. I'd say is the front runner right now, and then Army and Navy. I think Army and Navy both have to win conferences to do it, but
they could be. They're in the same conference, right?
Yeah.
So they could it be a conference? I don't know, whatever it is, but they're really good. Both of them.
Be awesome. I'm saying Army is going to beat. Army's going to beat Notre Dame.
Okay.
They're going to do it, and I think it's at Yankee Stadium.
And in the Notre Dame game in Annapolis.
Like, what if both service academies beat them? Like, it's going to happen. I don't know if I had this on my radar to begin the season, but your first bowl eligible team is the fighting Indiana Hoosiers at 6-0. Guys, Indiana's a good team. Indiana is one of, I think, only 8 teams in the country right now who have an over 50% chance to get into the playoff. Ohio State's really the only team on the schedule that I think for sure will beat them. But, like, they got Michigan at home. I'm not convinced they can't beat them.
I don't think Michigan can score with them if they score a couple touchdowns. Like, it's over.
Like, it used to be 9-win Indiana. The way they're just flat out dominating teams, it might be 10-win Indiana, 11-win Indiana. Like, I don't know what's going to stop them. Pretty crazy stuff.
Dude can coach, man. He's full of himself, but he can coach.
How long until he's a coach somewhere else? Like 3 years?
Oh, yeah, easily.
Like, okay. Florida, I think the Billy Napier thing got extended. I thought there was a chance UCF would beat them this weekend. Let's say Florida misses a bowl game. How fast are they calling Cignetti? Like, instantly?
Pretty quickly, yeah.
Yeah. We talked all the upsets. Georgia Tech beat Duke. Duke was undefeated going into that game. Pretty good. And Texas Tech, look out. Texas Tech is a very sneaky team right now. Their one loss is to Washington State. But they're humming right now. They go on the road. They beat Arizona. They're 5-1. The Big 12 is wide open still.
Wide open.
Yeah. Wide open.
Might not be any questionable how good it is, but it's wide open.
Yeah. It's getting fun out there. And also, I saw Arizona State and Kansas were just getting like a full fist fight at times during their game.
See that.
That was fun. Kansas is in big trouble.
They're not any good.
Kansas is in deep, deep trouble, guys. I don't know what to say. Earlier in the week, though, UNLV Syracuse. I don't want to be the refs rob them guy, but the refs totally robbed UNLV out of this game. I'm just going to be totally honest. They got 3rd and 20 in overtime playing defense against Syracuse. They get a great stop, and they call roughing the passer and targeting to put Syracuse on like the 5, and they just run it and score. It was absolutely ridiculous. I was very upset about it. Look, it would have extended overtime because I'm assuming Syracuse would have made the field goal. Do they win? It's up for debate, but they got absolutely screwed at that moment. And I'm furious because UNLV was really fun too. That's another G5 team, was undefeated, fighting for a playoff spot. They probably got screwed now out of it. But also shout out Fran Brown too in his first year. He's got Syracuse at 4-1.
Yeah,
it's a hard thing to do. And my last thing is TCU was in the national championship very recently.
Yeah, they were.
They just lost to Houston as, I think, 17-point favorites. Houston is so bad. They hadn't scored.
They got smoked by Houston. Like, I watched a little bit. They weren't really ever in that game.
Houston hasn't scored since the first week of September. and they absolutely lit up TCU in this game. I hate to be dogpiling on TCU for something that happened years ago, but them getting to the national championship game might be the flukiest, craziest run that we've seen in sports
100%.
that we've ever seen. And it's borderline impressive at that point, but what's so crazy
They
about
literally
that
could have lost 8 games. Like, they could have lost 8 straight weeks.
it's insanity. And what's so weird about that run is that they beat Michigan still somehow.
I know. But that
Like,
was
how did they do it?
Like, that game, Michigan played so bad.
So I saw Sonny Dykes. He's 5-7 in his last 12 games. Not ideal. I don't know where he goes as a coach now, because he was the sexiest hire in the world, like smartest hire ever. Everyone was saying like, "Oh, look what TCU's doing with Sonny Dykes now. It's the model program." Like, remember when TCU that offseason too was talking about how they got all these players from Alabama too, and they were going to be back to being so good? Well, I don't get what's going on over there. Let's talk NFL though for a little bit. The London game, or no, let's talk Thursday Night Football actually, because that was unbelievably fun, and it was a while ago, but we still got to talk about it. Falcons 36, Buccaneers 30. Wild game, crazy game. I love Kirk Cousins.
He's
If you are a Kirk Cousins hater, don't ever listen to the show ever again. We don't want you here. Say what you will about him, that you don't think he's a very good quarterback, whatever. He's just the best dude.
He threw for 500 yards.
And it's Falcons record, crazy impressive. And I'm going to be honest, like, if he threw for 499 yards, like, they don't win this game. Like, he needed all of the yards. Like, he honestly needed more yards to make this comfortable. Phenomenal performance by him in overtime. They get the W. This division went from absolute crap to one of the most fun in one season. I know the Panthers are still the Panthers, but there's moments where the Panthers were out there and it's like, I don't hate it. I'm going to be honest. Like, Panthers games last year were hard to watch. Now it's like, let's just see where it goes. I don't know. Like, they're not as brutal of a TV product as they used to be. Like, the losing at this point is to a almost like comical level, right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then you throw the Saints into there, who I think are decent as well. This division got so much more interesting. And I don't know if it's all Kirk or it's all Baker Mayfield or what it is really, but tip of the cap to this division, seriously. Also, Young Hoku, this dude, he's not getting enough credit for being one of the better kickers. And he got blocked earlier in the night, which why are we blaming kickers for getting blocked? Like, what did they do?
Yeah.
Why do we always put that on the kicker? They didn't do anything. It's not their fault that some guy jumped in front of them while they're trying to work. Like that, what's he supposed to do? Pick up the ball and run? Like, why do we always blame it on the kicker? I don't understand that. But yeah, he was absolute money. The Falcons, though, I'm gonna go on a limb. I think they're good. I couldn't decide up until this game. Like, they got fighting them. Like, they're not really getting blown out either. Like, they got close losses to the Chiefs. They beat the Eagles. They have a really weird game against the Steelers, which I think the Steelers are solid. I'm going to be honest. This game in a monsoon, you guys are going to be like, you're insane, Grant. But I don't think losing to the Steelers is as big of a deal as people make of it. It's also week 1, right? I'm going to go on a limb. I'm going to say the Falcons are good.
Okay.
Every game is a cardiac nightmare, but I think the Falcons are good.
It's a fun cardiac nightmare.
For us, I don't know if it's fun for Falcons.
For us, yeah. Falcons fans. No, for the viewer, it's fantastic.
Oh, and Matt Ryan, Ring of Honor. Shout out.
On Kirk Cousins night. Yeah.
Kind of weird. Kind of weird, but okay. Kirk Cousins too. He gets a lot of flack for being a bad quarterback.
No, he does.
Why? What is he doing that's so horrible out there? He's not the best quarterback, but like, people act like he's the worst in the league.
Oh, dude, that Thursday night was incredible.
Yeah,
it was incredible. Most Kirk Cousins thing ever, though. By the way, gave an interview on Dan Patrick Friday morning from a Waffle House parking lot with his 7-year-old son. Like, the Waffle House is clearly in the background. Like,
that sounds like something you would do. Yeah,
clearly in the background.
Surprised it wasn't on a swing set hanging out with his sons. The best is in that quarterback documentary where he goes back after a loss and he's just sitting around the campfire with his sons who are itty bitty. By the way, like it's not like a 15-year-old. It's like he's got little kids. He's just sitting there around the campfire debriefing the game with them. He's like, "What?" They're like, "What happened, Dad?" He's like, the other team got the best of us. They just played really well today." And they're like, "Oh, like he's just the best dude ever."
Dan asked him, like, "Did your son stay up?" And he was like, "Well, I got a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old." He goes, "The 7-year-old got tired and said, 'Mom, I'm not staying up anymore. I'm going to bed.'" And this is like the middle of the third quarter. And he said, "My 5-year-old just stayed up just so he could play with his toys and probably didn't watch any of it." And I'm like, "Man, that is dad life right there. It doesn't matter who you are."
Let's move to Sunday. The London game. I'm done with these. I hate these games. I'm so sick of them. Here's the thing. You can go to Brazil and play on a Friday night, sure. Like keep it in prime time. I'm so sick of. They know we're up till 2 a.m. watching football the night before.
Yeah.
And then you got me turning around watching a 7 a.m. start. I'm done with this. I'm so sick of it. I'm not gonna. And the product is always worse. The product's never good. I know Goodell's probably cashing a huge check. I don't care. If the Premier League isn't banking on us every single week. They're not playing in Manhattan every single weekend, right? I know they do like friendlies or whatever over here, but when it comes to the real stuff, they're not doing that for us.
Yeah, I know.
I'm done with these London games. I'm sick of it. Except for that one dude who's the dressed up like the Jaguar or whatever in the tuxedo. That was still very scary, but I don't want to piss him off because I don't want to be on his bad side, I guess. But summary of this game, the Jets might not be very good.
The Vikings are good.
The Vikings are good, but there's also times where the Jets
they're not
shooting themselves in the foot. Like the Vikings could be as good as they want, and this isn't against the Vikings or anything. But like you can still tell, like they're making errors that they just should not be making right now.
Yep.
But I'm sick of it. I want the point of this to be I'm so sick of the London game. That's what I want it to be. But I don't know. What did you learn from this? What Vikings good, Jets not as good as Vikings? Okay, sure. Okay.
The Jets have a lot of problems, and they have a 40-year-old quarterback. I don't care if he's Aaron Rodgers or not. They still have a 40-year-old quarterback.
Now, okay. I don't think they're ever gonna. They're gonna let Aaron Rodgers play till the wheels fall off, right? What if the Jets made a move to try and get Michael Penix Jr.?
I don't know why they wouldn't.
Like
Aaron Rodgers isn't going to let them do that. Like they're kind of handcuffed.
I don't
like being a Jets fan can't be fun. Like it's got to be the worst. And then
you got the Mets at the same time too. It's tough go around for.
At least the Mets are Mets are in the playoffs. They even won in a series. Like they got something going on.
It's a tough day to be a Mets fan. It wasn't.
It was. Yeah, it wasn't great.
Ravens 41, Bengals 38.
Hell of a game.
Amazing game. Every single time these teams play, I feel like it's great. I cannot believe the Bengals lost this game. This is a similar one to Cal, Miami. We were just talking about. It was harder for the Bengals to lose this game than for the Ravens to win it. It was insane. It goes to overtime. McPherson missed field goal on a bad snap. Again, can't blame it all on the kicker. Like if the ball is not even in the right spot, right? Derrick Henry, who they had held to basically nothing the entire game, just gets one run and puts them right in perfect territory. I had Bengals +2. I've never been more furious about losing a bet. This was the best pick ever, and it still didn't work. I cannot believe it. This Ravens team, though, is legit.
Yeah,
I know people were jumping on them for looking bad, but if you've learned anything over the past 2 weeks, is that they're very good. Now, the narrative could have been different if he makes that kick, but I still would have felt very good about the Ravens. Like I still look at this team and there's so much talent. They do the defense seems to get a little bit better each year. They're like, I want to say they're gonna they can win a Super Bowl, but I feel like every time we crown them to do that, they do something so stupid and they just fumble it away. So maybe I'll hold that back a little bit.
Let's hold it. Yeah, let's see what they do in the playoffs.
Other things though, on the Bengals side, if you think Joe Burrow is bad now, I don't know what else to show you because Joe Burrow just flat out played very good in this game. 5 touchdowns, 1 interception, over almost 400 yards. Like, he's not the issue right now.
Nope.
And I know some people are like, "Oh, Joe Burrow's not as good. He's getting too much credit. Oh, it's all the defense." Like, the guy can flat out play, right?
Yep.
And I still, if I had to award best 1-4 team, it's probably the Bengals. I don't know how many 1-4 teams there really are, what the competition is, but I feel like they're better than 1-4. They do have some glaring problems. Like, okay, the Patriots losing to Patriots, bad. But then these big games, they show up to play. Like, they get kind of robbed against the Chiefs earlier in the season. And then this is a game they should have won. Like, do I think the Bengals are going to make the playoffs? Probably not at 1-4, if I'm being honest. But they got games coming down the line here where I'd hate to play them. You know?
Yeah, but I can't believe they lost this game.
Like, this was probably their season, was this game.
Yeah, correct. That's what I was kind of getting at, is like, this was one, like, if they win this game, it's like, okay, we can get this rolling. And like you said, you still wouldn't have thought much about the Ravens if they would have lost this game and going to 2-3. It's like, well, they've started to figure it out. The Bengals are still really good. They're playing at the Bengals. The Bengals had to win this game. Had to win this game. And they didn't. And it feels like that narrative changed in a matter of 10 minutes. Like, okay, with the Bengals, they can pull this out. They can get it rolling. Joe Burrow is obviously having a really good year. They can figure out the holes in this, and then they didn't. Like, they lost.
Right.
And now it's like, all right, the Ravens, now it's a completely different narrative where the Ravens are like, oh, well, they figured out how to win. This is a legit football team. Now let's see if they can figure it out in the playoffs.
I understand. I do look at the Bengals schedule, though, the rest of the season. Had they just beaten the Patriots even, just 2-4,
yep,
their schedule is not difficult at all. There are so many wins on this schedule when I look at it. Like, they got the Ravens coming up again, then obviously they got to play the Steelers, but you got the Browns twice, the Titans, you got Cowboys, Chargers. Like, they played the AFC West. Like, I know the Broncos are my team. I'm obviously going to be biased to them now being above 500 very early in the season. But like, if you told me right now, like, could the Bengals beat the Broncos? I'd say 100% they could.
Yeah.
Like, the Broncos are just a beatable team right now. So do I think there's still wins on the table for the Bengals? Yes. This was probably I don't want to eliminate them in the first week of October, but I might be doing it.
It wasn't a good. This was not a good loss. Not a good loss.
And not that losing to the Ravens is bad or anything, but it's like, hey, when you are fumbling around with the Patriots week 1, you got to clean it up now. Other games, Bills, Texans. The Bills have been a weird team for the past, 4 years, where I feel like they're good. Like, the Bills are a undeniably good team, but something's weird with them, Zach. And I haven't been quite able to put my finger on it. And I didn't want to, like, assign blame to one specific thing, but today, and this could be an overreaction, they might have to clear house in the entire coaching staff. They might have to.
I think that's what it is.
They might have to, tomorrow morning, management has to walk in there and say, we are just getting all new people, bring in new people, and then also fire those people just to extra get rid of everything that's going on. I cannot believe how badly at the NFL level these guys fumbled away this game and handled the clock at the end of the game. The Bills got the ball back with 30 seconds left. They're on their own 5, right? The Texans didn't even have all their timeouts, by the way. It's not like they had 3 timeouts. I think they had 1. You run the ball up the middle 3 times, you're good. You go to play to overtime. Instead, they make 3 pass plays in a row that are all horrible. They're all potential turnovers. They're all the disaster, right? Forcing things that just aren't there. And all of a sudden, they killed a whole 9 seconds off the clock. And they got to punt out of their back of their own end zone and give the ball to C.J. Stroud again with 20 whole seconds left. And they get a return into the Bills' territory.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny. It's like C.J. Stroud legacy drive. All you had to do was like lightly pass it over the middle for 5 yards to get it into field goal territory. Like, if you're the Bills, and you're watching this game, you got to be like, we totally lost this for us.
Yeah.
We completely let this thing go. Like, I don't understand. Even Josh, like, this is potentially the MVP of the league this year. If you're at the line sitting there, like, there's confidence in your quarterback. And also, like, dude, let's just use the brain for half a second here.
Yeah.
All right, let's just think about this. Even after the first throw, you could hear on the broadcast, they were like, whoa, dude. Like, what was that? That was crazy. Surely they're just run it this time because that was insane behavior at the 5-yard line. Surely they're just going to run. And they did it again. And I can't remember who was broadcasting, but he was like, I'm starting to be concerned. Like, this is what is Sean McDermott?
He was Iron Eagle. I think he was on the call for this one.
Who's been great, by the way.
He's incredible.
He's doing a great job. Or no, it's just Benetti's who I'm thinking of. Sorry. They're both great, though. This was a complete catastrophe. The Bills were in a position where I was like, they should win this game. I saw them do that, and I was like, I hope they lose. And I bet on the Bills in this game. Rarely am I like, that was so stupid. That was so bad. I hope they lose now. And you saw, too, after the game, there's a photo. And this is a podcast, so this is a bad segment, but there was a photo out there of Stephon looking at Josh and being like, you dumb bitch. What were you thinking out there? What the hell was that? I was so right about you. Like, it was just the most glaring moment ever. I still think the Bills are good. Don't get me wrong. They got wins still on the schedule, but this is one that they're going to look back on and be like, holy cow, we could have taken this game. We could have won. And Texas, you got to be pretty happy at 4-1. I know I was throwing kind of the fraud question around with them because I thought some of their wins were weird, but this one's solid. I mean, even though the Bills kind of handed it to them, like they're still in the position to win. They still had to get there anyway. Good job, Texans. I absolutely hate, though, the uniforms they wore today, this like H-Town alternate. I know some people love them. I think they're disgusting. Don't ever wear those ever again. They have so many better uniforms. The red helmets are so much better than this.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about it.
They can't do the Oilers, right? That the Titans, that's their alternate.
Can the Titans not do it, or can
the Titans can? No, I think they are the Titans. Yeah. So that answers my own question.
So yes. Other games, Colts Jaguars. Sneaky didn't have it prepared for this, but this game was
electric.
Very awesome.
Tank Bigsby, War Eagle.
Tank Bigsby had an amazing game. Joe Flacco is how old is he? What, he's in his 40s now?
I think he's 39.
The dude can. Is he better now than he was?
The dude loves ball.
Like 5 years ago? I mean,
just loves ball.
Is he in a second renaissance of his career? Like, he's playing so good.
He's still elite.
He needs to be the. Should the worst team of the draft just be awarded Joe Flacco every year?
Oh my God, that team's tanking.
Should what? Like, okay, let's say the Panthers, they're the worst team in the league again, or like the Patriots or something, right? Do you just you get Joe Flacco? Is it the worst thing in the world? Like, I know he's 39, but like, you would have said this about him when he was 35. Like, and I think he's better now. Like, he's better now than he was when he was on the Broncos. Like, he's gotten better. I don't know if that the year he took off from football or whatever it did to him, but like, the guy is playing ridiculously well for him.
Yeah.
What were his stats today? 3 touchdowns, 360 yards, 33 completions. Like, and it's not even like it's all like check downs or whatever. They're playing him really safe. Like,
he's throwing bombs.
He's letting it sling,
He's
dude.
throwing darts.
The Jaguars, though, they get their first win of the season. There's no winless teams. I know a lot of people are ready to give up on Trevor Lawrence. I need at least to see the season.
Okay,
right.
I'm fine with that.
I'm not ready to give up on him. I'd like to see, they just signed him to a new contract, so I don't think we're ever going to see him on a different team, or at least like I guess now we have like 39-year-olds getting into their second prime at quarterback, so I don't really know.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the answer is for this team. I think a little bit of it might be Doug Peterson's fastball is a little different now, but I think this was fine where it was like, okay, Lawrence, he's not as bad as we might have thought he was.
Yeah.
That's how I kind of felt about it. But Jaguars, hey, I was starting to get nervous because I was on record many times saying that I thought the Jaguars were going to be very good this year, and they had not won yet. And if they got to like 0-8, I was going to get really nervous because their schedule is not super easy towards the end of the season. So if they didn't get a win here, they go to London and then Patriots. After that,
back-to-back London games.
why do they always do that? They want the Jaguars to
They
win
want
London
to,
so
yes.
bad. I hate that they were doing that. They shouldn't be allowed to do that anymore. Cardinals 24, 49ers 23. The 49ers have an issue.
They do. It's not good.
They got a little bit of an issue. There's something in there. It's different than the Eagles where I'm like, I don't think the Eagles, part of me is like, maybe they're just not that good to begin with. Like, the 49ers should be a great team. And I don't know if it's like just not having McCaffrey right now who's got like double Achilles tears somehow.
Yeah.
I don't, maybe they're getting scoutable or something, but the 49ers, like, it's not hitting the same anymore against these teams. And I think the Cardinals are better than they get credit for sure. Like, giving them 7 points in this game was probably crazy.
Yeah.
But the 49ers going out and rolling everyone and high stepping over the field is probably over. I'm going to be totally honest.
Yeah. It's starting to feel that way.
Now, are the 49ers still a team I definitely don't want to play? Are they going to be in the playoffs? Probably, if you had to ask
me. They get healthy, yeah.
But I don't think, like last year, they just dominated teams, right? I don't think that's going to happen this year. It's just clearly not going to. And gosh, they got some just weird stuff on here. Like the game against the Rams, weird. Game against the Vikings, weird. I just can't figure them out, dude.
I know. I'm not gonna lie to you. I watched or kept up with most of this game, and then like literally went and did something for a couple minutes, came back and they had lost, and I was like, whoa, how did we lose this football game? How did they lose the football game?
Yeah,
and it felt like that's happened in their 3 losses.
Mm-hmm. I know you keep saying Kyler Murray is not that good. He's starting to win me over.
He's got to do it. He's got to do a little bit more for me.
He's starting to win me over. I'm trending as a Kyler Murray guy.
Okay.
I don't know when the Call of Duty game drops or whatever you want to talk about, but like the 49ers had this game won. And then all of a sudden, like the defense showed up, right? They picked off Brock Purdy, but it is what it is. And then Sunday Night Football, guys, it's still going on. It was delayed about 9 hours, to my knowledge, because of a monsoon. It's in the fourth quarter. We'll keep you updated on it, but we're going to go through some scores real quick in the NFL. What do we have here? I wish this app worked better. Giants 29, Seahawks 20. This was, I don't know if we can say like vintage Daniel Jones, but the dude looked good today. I don't know if he used all of it today, but the dude looked really solid. Against the Seahawks too, who had kind of been a little consistent. I felt like I was like, wow, this is like the Seahawks, credit to them. Like they shouldn't be good, but they're always just kind of solid, the Seahawks. They did struggle to run the ball a little bit. Like Geno Smith was the leading rusher. And I feel like for some teams, like, okay, if that happens with the Ravens, I'm not very surprised, but like Seahawks.
Which is crazy because they ran the ball really good on Monday night.
I feel like they run the ball really good always. Like I think that's been a consistent thing for them. So that was crazy. I think a short week definitely hurts a little bit, but also shout out Tyrone Tracy, played amazing today. Former Hawkeye legend getting out there. What else got? Packers 24, Rams 19. Jordan Love finally gets the win. Gets it off his back. First win of the season.
He threw a bad pick.
Is he not allowed to at some time?
Have you not seen this pick? I'm
saying, can guys not throw a pick in the NFL anymore? Can they get one?
They can. He just threw a bad pick.
Did he win the game or not?
They won the game. Great point.
Like there's a lot of teams who lost today would trade that one pick for a win over the Rams too on the road who are pretty good.
Fair.
Yes or yes. Broncos 34, Raiders 18. I don't want to overreact, but the Broncos have never been this back before.
They're playing well. Bo Nix era is here.
We hadn't beat the Raiders, I think, since 2019. It had been a long time. Get the monkey off the back. We beat them on Alumni Day, honoring the 1977 team, wearing the best uniforms in the NFL.
Yeah, they're incredible.
If there was any greater sign from God to make these uniforms the primary ones, it was this game. Bo Nix played outstanding in this game. Absolute stud. He couldn't throw a touchdown pass a few weeks ago. This game he has two touchdowns, 206 yards passing. Unbelievable. We might have the best cornerback duo in the NFL.
Yeah.
Well. Riley Moss.
Defense is good.
Pat Surtain, probably the best corner in the league. I'm just going to say it. Call me biased or whatever. The play speaks for itself. Shutting down everyone's star player. All right. Now, granted, played Gardner Minshew today. No Devontae Adams. Take it what you will. But he still got to show up. Still got to play well. And they, outside of, I think they got up 10-3 at one point. Like, after that Pat Surtain pick six, this was a clobbering. This was a slaughter from that point on. The Broncos, too, I mean, you're sitting at 3-2. The way that the AFC West looks, I don't know if Yoffs are really in the picture right now, but it's not horrible. I'm going to be honest. The way that it looks. Like right now, the Broncos are the 5th seed in the AFC because it's such a mess right now. Right? They play the NFC South.
Okay.
Which I think has wins in it. Like I said, I mentioned it's fun, but like we already beat the Buccaneers. You tell me we can't beat the Saints?
Or the
Sean Payton
Panthers.
revenge game?
Yeah.
You tell me we can't beat the Panthers? We get the Falcons at home? There's wins out there. So I'm very optimistic on the Broncos right now. And I'm just happy to, like, the bare minimum is first things first, take care of business in the division. Mm-hmm. We haven't been able to beat the Raiders in forever for some reason. Feels great to be able to finally do that. And I like that Bo is actually, like, there's something to just look forward to right now, which is great. I have something in my throat. Say some words, please.
I think you're right. Bo Nix is getting better and better by the week. Now, last week necessarily doesn't count. Well, it does, but that was in a monsoon. I love the exchange between him and Sean Payton. Like, you're never going to know what it was about, but like.
Well, according to Bo Nix, he said, "I love you" to Sean Payton, and Sean Payton said, "I love you" back even louder and more times.
Nice. Well, then there we go. No, this was an impressive victory. Yeah. I think it was the uniforms. Good God, they're beautiful.
Why can't – this is what I don't understand is that ownerships see when fans love these kind of uniforms, and this is across the board, right? Make them the primaries. Like, it's so easy to just run the hits on uniforms. I don't understand why people don't do it.
Yeah. Those Falcons uniforms from Thursday night. Incredible. Just
run the hits, dude.
Beautiful.
Run the hits.
Beautiful. No, good win. I mean, would you take like at 3-2 right now if I told you before the season started, had 5 games in, you'd be 3-2? Would you take it?
Yes. 100%.
Okay. There you go.
Like above 500 starting out the season. Weren't we like 1-5 last year to start the season?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take 3-2. Sure. Being above 500, you got a division win already. I'll take it.
You got a quarterback. Like, not only is a quarterback decent, but you got a quarterback it looks like you have your future quarterback, and which you can't say you've had the past 2 years.
No, and this is what I liked about the Broncos this year. It was like, even if we don't make the playoffs, at least we have something to build to.
Yeah.
Like, we're not in win now mode when we're not good, right?
Yeah.
Like, do I think the Broncos will win the Super Bowl this year? No. But like, we got something to build to. That's all I want right now. It's like we got stuff to look forward to. We don't got to win it all in 1 year, right?
Yep.
Like we got Russ, and we put a team that wasn't very good into win now mode, right?
Yeah.
With a coach who wasn't very experienced. Like that's not a winning formula. Now it's like we have a good coach, we got a young quarterback, we got young guys, we got the best corner in the league. Like there's stuff to work to here, right? Which I like. Well, we got the Chargers coming up. Also a huge game. Like I said, take care of business in the division. That's all I want.
Yep.
All right. Do you got other NFL points to make?
I think the tell of 2 teams in the Commanders-Browns game. One has a quarterback, and they're excited for the future, and, man, it's fun to watch. The other is the shell of Deshaun Watson.
You want to do the bad stats, Deshaun Watson?
Sure.
Bad stats. Deshaun Watson is averaging a negative 0.3 EPA per dropback. That's the lowest of any Browns QB in weeks 1 through 5 since 2000. We've had some bad Browns QBs. That's pretty bad since then. Do you know who the second worst performer was? With a negative 0.2 EPA, if that helps out.
Deshaun Watson from last year.
It was Deshaun Watson last year. I seriously like this might be setting back the Browns horrifically bad.
Oh, it might go down as one of the worst trades in NFL history.
Do we want to listen to John Fanta's
Video
video
today? Yes.
Do we want to listen to it a little bit? It's 3 minutes. It's a little longer. We won't go through the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. We'll listen to a little bit of it.
Guys, I've got to tell you about the best way to spend your Sunday afternoons. It's called the Circus of Insanity. This is a brand new autumn activity in which you can spend 100 minutes on a Sunday afternoon watching someone try to do the same thing over and over again, believing that it may change one of these Sundays. Even against the National Football League's worst pass defense. Yes, worst pass defense in which for a half of football, not 70 yards were amassed. When will it end? If it hasn't ended now, it shouldn't end. Because at the end of the day, professionals or not, you all have jobs out there. You've worked on a project with other classmates, or surely you've done something with your family in which everybody has to participate. And you know if there's someone on your team or your group that you simply can't count on. Sure.
So great. I did see, I don't know the full extent of it, but the weird fourth down play where I think Stefanski wanted to go for it, and it looks like Deshaun backed out of it. There's weird stuff going on with the Browns right now. I like the point. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, keep going.
Well, I was going to say, I was going to switch to Jaden Daniels.
Okay, yeah, I'll go with it's got to be tough being a Browns fan. Like he's not any good, and I don't know him. I'm speculating. Like he's not a great person either, and it's just that trade is just brutal. And
like you're watching Baker play great right now.
Uh-huh.
You're watching Joe Flacco play great right now.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You're watching Johnny Manziel owns a bar right now. It's tough out there.
Yeah.
Hey, you got Ohio State. Like you got to remember this too, by the way. Browns fans are Ohio State fans. They are Cleveland Guardian fans. Like it could be worse right now.
Very fair point. Very fair point.
I guess I don't know. They got the Cavs were their statement first round loss in the NBA playoffs, I guess. Or did they win the series? I can't remember what happened back then. But Jaden Daniels, though, this is my Commander's point, is that watching him for like what the Commanders have seen with quarterbacks past 25 years, maybe, it's got to be like a third eye opening ayahuasca level experience.
Oh, it is. My text like
to see him play.
It is.
It's like I didn't know this was possible. I didn't know that I could feel this good about a QB. Like insanity. And think about it too, they've had Robert Griffin III. Like they had Kirk Cousins. Like they've had decent quarterbacks, sure. Like Robert Griffin III won the Heisman. I know he got hurt, but like they've seen good people come through. Like and Jaden is already the best.
On a personal note, I used to work at a Commander's bar. Like it was just packed on Sundays. No matter if they lost a lot when I was there. Lost a lot. I texted my wife after the game today, after my phone had just been dinging with regulars. It's bringing happiness to my life for not like this being a team that like I root for, but like kind of follow. I've never missed a day of not bartending. Like I don't miss it. Don't want to go back to it. I have missed the past 2 Sundays, I can admit, of just how off the wall they would be right now. Just being able to witness it, not like I kind of see it through my text messages on Sundays, but just witnessing in person, just the insanity of it, because it is a great fan base, and they stuck with a terrible team. And just to see that, man, it's like it has been the cheers you can hear on the TV come from the stadium, almost like college. Like it's like they're just all this pent up frustration that they've had for so long is like getting released, and it's incredible. I mean, I went to a few games there when I was living in the area, and it kind of had this stale feel to it, especially for such a good fan base. And I'm happy for them. I hope it keeps going. But oh man, the tale of two franchises today. Oof.
Yeah. While the Steelers are wrapping up, we can talk a little baseball playoffs because it is going on right now. And I'm going to be honest, I was locked into it up until Friday night, or I guess they didn't play on Friday for some reason. It's going to be pretty hard for me to turn off college football for the MLB playoffs or the NFL, if I'm just being honest, hand up. I know I saw it. So the Guardians, I'm rooting for the Tigers right now. I just want to throw that out there. I like underdog stories. I root for the little guy. But the Tigers got absolutely demolished by the Guardians. There was nothing they could do about it. In the world of rest versus rest, the Guardians definitely benefited from the rest. And also just probably having a better team probably helped them out.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
And I know when they got Scooball out there pitching the Tigers, they can beat anyone. But this, they are not amazing when they don't have them. I'm going to be honest.
I didn't, I can honestly admit I didn't watch a lot of American League Central regular season baseball, but so going back to your point, I don't know why I did it. I got sucked into baseball yesterday. I watched a lot of college football, watched pretty much most baseball. And not knowing or watching hardly any games from those two teams in the year, the Tigers and the Guardians, it was very, it didn't take long to realize the Guardians were a better team. Or at least on that day.
Yeah. 7-0 first round of the playoffs feels pretty, or first game of the playoffs feels pretty good. Some of these series have already had 2 games. I don't understand why, but you got a split so far between the Mets and Phillies. It's been a great series so far. The Mets kept it going into game 1 against the Phillies, which the Phillies, Schwarber hit that home run first inning. I was like, oh, this is going to be a clobbering. After that, it was all Mets after that. And I know they had a big run in the 8th or whatever, but it was there a moment of excitement afterwards? Like they got the double.
Phillies didn't have anything.
Yeah. Then today, it looked like the Mets were going to go up 2-0, which would have been wild. But the dude Castellanos just delivers. Or is it Castellanos? Yeah. Or Castellanos? It doesn't matter. The dude is a walk-off double, which begs us the question, do bad things happen when he hits a walk-off double as well? Like if it's a game-winning RBI, or is it just home runs?
Well, it wasn't a walk-off home run when bad things
that's what I said. It was double.
It was just a regular home run. No, you're talking about today.
Today, he had a game-winning single.
He had a game-winning single.
Yeah.
And then the bad things happened. It was a home run.
Yes.
But it wasn't a walk-off. It was like in the middle of the 6th inning or something like that.
He had a home run earlier today, too?
He had a home run today, too, yeah. Him and Harper went back-to-back.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that part. Good for them.
Yeah, he's always involved. Yeah, it's been fun. I mean, and then the Dodgers series, man, Padres are – they can –
One more thing. Hold on. The Mets Phillies. After he hit the game-winning single, if they cut straight to a dude in a Grimace costume – brilliant. Brilliant directing. Whoever was on the camera of just Grimace with his doing the surrender cobra, brilliant. That was all I want to say. Padres Dodgers was going on to say, Yu Darvish, dog. Handled them today. It was like the least amount of pitches a Padres pitcher has ever had in the postseason through 7 innings. Just worked them. Very impressive stuff. The Padres, though, so they got a split series now, too. I'm rooting for the Padres right now. I'm going to be honest. As much as I want to see Shohei, you got Dodgers fans throwing things on the field during the game. They're mad. They're losing. Disgusting brat behavior from the Dodgers. Can't stand them. Done with them. And acting like they're the victim somehow still. Ridiculous behavior. I'm pulling for the Padres.
Yeah, I'm just hoping for a good series. Shohei Ohtani, holy hell.
Did you see the quote he had where it was like, are you nervous now finally playing the playoffs? He was like, no. It's just baseball for me. He's like, that's what we've wanted. This is what we've wanted. We wanted to see the best player playing the big moments, and we're finally getting it.
Yeah.
Turns out he's pretty good.
I texted y'all last night. John Smokes is fantastic. Just the way he breaks things down on like a layman's term. And like he was talking about the Dodgers pitcher, like didn't have his slider. It was like slightly off. And he was like, this is what like he's sitting here trying to dial it in. He needs to get it figured out so the Padre hitters don't like capitalize on it quick. Bomb. Like 3 run. I think it was Manny Machado. And he was like, he's not that far off. If he can get it dialed in the next inning or two, and then he just starts throwing darts. And it was just like seeing like Smokesy talk you through it. But then Shohei Ohtani hits that bomb, and they were like, he's inevitable. Like he is going to do something to you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I was like, damn, that's good stuff. Simple but good stuff.
I do like that we're gonna get like all of these are pretty much rivals playing each other.
Yes,
right
yeah.
Like credit to baseball, where normally credit is not given. They are doing a fantastic job setting up this postseason. Outside of
Playing on the weekends during football season,
I don't think that's the best idea ever. I'm going to be honest. I do think though. I'm sure Royals fans dislike the Yankees.
Yeah,
but Mets, Phillies, great. Tigers, Guardians, feed it to me. Padres, Dodgers, of course. Like this is good stuff. Now, this game's wrapping up here. What are they? They're down at the 4-yard line. Is this what I'm seeing here for the Dallas Cowboys? Boy, I'm going to be honest. It would be so Cowboys of them to fumble the ball here or to throw a pick.
Well tonight at all.
Something weird. I don't know if we can prolong this into I don't know how long we can stall for 15 minutes while they call 800 timeouts here. I'm gonna guess something bad's gonna happen. I'm just gonna be honest. And that call me negative, but I think something bad's about to happen here. I just that's how I feel. And maybe I'm a Cowboys hater at heart or a Steelers homer at heart, but something is strange is about to happen. It's a weird game. We're in a monsoon. It's 4 a.m. It feels like right now. Oh, and Dak's just gonna run it. Oh, is he short? This is bad podcasting going on. If you made it here so far, I don't know, just check ESPN. You already know what happened. You didn't need to listen to this podcast to figure out what happened in the game. I'm sure it was great. Either Dak or player on Steelers made a great play at some point. If you made it this far, thank you for listening. We'll be back on Wednesday to preview the week.